Well, good morning, everyone. It's Stephen Whiteside here from theuptrend.com with your morning market outlook for Thursday, May 7th, 2026. In the pre market this morning, things are fairly quiet. Russell is just below fair value, but the rest of the major indices are trading around fair value right now. Commodities are in a similar state that they were yesterday. We've got crude oil down again while gold is higher on Thursday morning. Now, U.S. jobless claims come out at 8:30 this morning. They could certainly shake up the direction of the market. Now, yesterday we saw selling in crude oil, so the crude oil ETF is back on a sell signal. Gasoline traded down to the lower channel line yesterday, did not close below it, so gasoline is still on a buy signal. While money came out of the energy sector, it went into mining, and we saw a pop in copper. We saw a pop in the GLD yesterday and the SLV. So a big switch. Money came out of energy and went into any of the metals. Now, the VIX, oddly enough, traded higher yesterday for the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ, while the VIX for the Russell traded a little lower. So we can see that options traders were buying some protection on Wednesday. Looking at the major index ETFs, the iShares for the TSX 60 traded up to the upper channel line yesterday, did not close above it, while the Vanguard Canada ETF did close slightly above the upper channel line. Personally, I would wave that off, wait for the next close above the upper channel line to get a little more confirmation there. Now, in the U.S. market, we saw the Dow trade up to the $500 level once again. It traded slightly above it, got as high as $500.08, and then settled down at $499.05. The $500 level, again, big psychological round number, acting as resistance. Now, we didn't see resistance in the S&P 500. We traded up, hit the next price target. Our next price target was $734.38. We got as high as $734.59. So if you had an order in there, it got filled. Congratulations. Looking at the NASDAQ, gapping higher yesterday, running up. Now, our next mathematical price target is 703.13. At the same time, 700 is a big round number, and we did not get up to that yesterday. It got as high as 695.93. So we still have a little room to go to get to 700, and then our next price target is just above that. Looking at the financials, they were up yesterday, not enough to give us a new buy signal, while U.S. bank stocks did generate a new buy signal on Wednesday. Now, semiconductors are still leading the markets higher. You can see the SMH ETF gapping up yesterday, up over 5% on the day. Acellus was the big winner in percentage terms on Wednesday, Advanced Micro Devices. Then we've got Rambus back on a buy signal. There's Lam Research making a new high. Then Teradyne back on a buy signal as of Wednesday's close. ASML Holdings moved up to the previous highs yesterday. Then looking at Taiwan Semiconductors, a new high for that stock on Wednesday. Moving on to the Canadian market, and as we started off with, we saw a big sector switch yesterday. Money came out of the energy sector, which was down nearly 5% in Toronto, and moved into materials or the mining sector, which was up over 6%. So that was the big move yesterday. When we go through the most actives, TELUS was the first most actively traded stock yesterday, was up over 2% on the day. No change in trend for Enbridge on Wednesday, then Keel Infrastructure popping, making a new high on Wednesday. B2 Gold traded up into the channel, but not enough to give us a buy signal, so we're still waiting for a close on Thursday above $6.29. ARC, which is takeover play, pulled back a little on Wednesday. Cenovus traded down to the upper channel line, so did Baytex, so no change in trend there. New high for Manulife. The financials did very well on Wednesday. Canadian Natural Resources, unfortunately, is back on a sell signal as of Wednesday's close. Whitecap Resources trading in the channel, so looking for a close below $15.36 on Thursday to give us a sell signal. That would join Suncor on a sell signal as of Wednesday's close. And then there's another financial making a new high on Wednesday. That's the TD Bank. And then we've got Barrick. Barrick's back on a buy signal as of Wednesday's close. And then last up, we've got Air Canada trading up to the previous high. And of course, airline stocks did well on Wednesday with crude oil dropping on the day. Let's finish off this morning's presentation taking a look at the U.S. most actives and what worked and what didn't work in the U.S. Well, just like in Canada, energy was the big loser on the day. Unlike in Canada, there are some other sectors that did better than the materials sector, and that's industrials, information technology, and communication services. They outpaced the materials sector. The materials sector in the major indices aren't as important as they are in the Canadian market. It doesn't mean all those mining stocks aren't traded in the US. They certainly are, but they're not counted in the major indices like they are in the Canadian market. Looking at NVIDIA is back on a buy signal as of Wednesday's close. Not a lot of room to go before we get back to the recent high, and if we can take that out, then 225 would be our next target. Now, Intel had no trouble making a new high on Wednesday. Supermicro popped, came back up to where it stopped back in February, so we'll have to see if we can get through that resistance on Thursday. Then Nokia had a small pullback on Wednesday, no change there. We're up at the top of our projected trading range for Nokia. Advanced Micro Devices popped yesterday and made a new high. Coupang dropped like a rock yesterday, down nearly 14% on the day. Then Coterra Energy is back on a sell signal as of Wednesday's close. No change in trend for Snap. No change in trend for Joby. Joby's moving up. It's moved up before, and we've got this big open gap over here. So the first line of offense is going to be a breakout above that low from back in January. That'll be the first sign something's really working for this stock. Otherwise, it's just another failed move higher. Looking at Big Bear still on a buy signal, no change. No change in trend for American Airlines. And of course, airlines got a boost yesterday on lower energy prices. And then last up this morning, looking at Apple, making a new high yesterday. And Apple is right up at the top of our projected trading range. And we'll have to see if we can kick through that on Thursday. Okay, folks, that is all for this morning's presentation. I'm doing this presentation ahead of those jobless claims numbers. When they come out at 8:30, they could certainly help change the direction of the market. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Next time you'll hear my voice is on Friday morning.
Thanks for tuning in until the very end of today's stock market timing educational video. If you found the content valuable, don't forget to express your support by hitting the like button, leave a comment, sharing with your friends, and subscribing to our channel for more insightful updates. Remember, in the world of stocks, timing is crucial, and following the trend can be your greatest ally. If you would like more information on how we can help you better time the stock market, please visit theuptrend.com.